So, my dears, first of all, don't forget the use of English in class is mandatory. Try to say everything, try to give me all your opinions and your interventions in English, and that's it. So we can begin right now. We are going to try to talk and to reinforce passive voice. So guys, this is something that we learned the previous week. What do you remember? What can you tell me of passive voice? Give me the general aspects of passive voice. Go ahead. Who wants to do it? What is that? What do you remember of passive voice, babies? Give me ideas. Go ahead, please. No? Do I have to pick someone? Okay, Martin Grajales, what do you remember of passive voice, dear? What is that?
It's when you talk about something that you did, or like something that someone did, and you give more importance to the object than to the subject.
Very good.
I mean, you give more importance to the verb than to the subject. Yeah.
Very good, that's it. So passive voice is when you have an action or something that happened or that is happening, but you have to give more importance to the object and to the action that is happening than importance to the subject. So, who can give me an example of passive voice? I need someone who give me an example, an easy one. Go ahead, you can decide. Otherwise, I will pick someone. No? So, Laura, can you please give me an example of passive voice, princess?
Hamlet was written by William Shakespeare.
Can you please repeat? Hamlet was written by
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare. Okay. Hamlet was written by Shakespeare. Pay attention to this one. This is in passive voice. You are using or you are giving the importance to the object, and it's okay. But what happened, babies, if I want to change that passive voice sentence into an active voice one? Hamlet was written by Shakespeare. Who can change this sentence into active voice? Who can do it? Maybe Sarai. Go ahead, baby. Please change this sentence, the one that Laura gave us, into active voice. Hamlet was written by Shakespeare.
Shakespeare was right writing Hamlet.
Not really. So pay attention, Sarai. Do it with me. You have Hamlet was written by Shakespeare. If you realize and if you remember, when you are using passive voice, your auxiliary verb is going to be the verb to be, right? So, baby, if you pay attention to the verb to be in this sentence, in which verbal time is the verb to be? ¿En qué tiempo verbal lo tienes? Hamlet was written by Hamlet. By Shakespeare.
Yes.
So, what is the verbal tense? You have the verb to be like was. In which verbal time is that verb to be?
Past simple.
Past simple. That means that your active voice sentence must be in past simple. So let's try again, Sarai. How can you change that passive sentence into an active one?
Shakespeare was
Not was,
what?
because you are not going to use an auxiliary verb. What is the main verb in this sentence? Hamlet was written by Shakespeare. What is the main verb?
Writing.
Written. So how is the past form of written?
Wrote.
Wrote. That's the only one that you have to use. So let's try again. Shakespeare.
Shakespeare wrote Hamlet.
Hamlet. That's it. Shakespeare wrote Hamlet. Hamlet was written by Shakespeare. Okay? Let's try with another example. Sarai, can you please give me an example in passive voice? Whatever you want.
In passive voice.
Yes.
Um, mm, the hamburger was eaten by Sandra.
Okay. The hamburger was eaten by Sandra. Take it into account. The hamburger was eaten by Sandra. Who can change that passive example into an active one? Who wants to do it? Someone, or do I have to pick someone? A hamburger was eaten by Sandra. David, attack. Can you please change that example into active voice? A hamburger was eaten by Sandra. Please put it in active voice.
The hamburger was eaten by Sarah.
By Sandra. That's the passive
By
voice
Sandra.
example. So, a hamburger was eaten by Sandra. That's in passive voice. How can you say it in active voice?
Ah, te entendí, passive. I don't know.
You can do it. Go ahead. So, if in passive voice the most important thing is the object, in active voice the most important thing is the subject. So,
Sandra. Ah, no,
Sandra.
okay. It's Sandra. I think a hamburger.
So, now pay attention to this. In passive voice, you have a hamburger was eaten by Sandra. In which verbal tense is the verb to be in that sentence? How do you have the verb to be, that is your auxiliary verb in passive voice, in that sentence? A hamburger was eaten by Sandra. How is your verb to be? In which verbal tense?
It was.
Is was, and what is that verbal tense? Present, future, past, what is that?
Past.
Past simple, right? So if you have your verb to be in passive in past simple, that means that your active voice is going to be in past simple. So David, what is the main verb in this sentence? A hamburger was eaten
Eating.
by Sandra.
Eating.
Eaten. Yeah, so your main
Eaten.
verb is eat. What is the past form of the verb eat? Past form of
Eaten.
eat.
Eaten.
Eaten is the participle. What is the past form?
No entiendo.
Okay, you
El
have
participle is
eat.
eat.
The participle is eaten. The infinitive
Okay.
is eat. What is the
Sí.
normal past form of the verb eat? How is the past form of the verb
Eating.
eat?
No, eso es no. No.
Eight.
Ate.
Ate.
Sí.
Very good, ate. So you have all the things that you need. A hamburger was eaten by Sandra. How can you say that in active voice? Sandra,
Sandra was eat a hamburger.
you don't have to use verb to be. No vas a usar verbo to be. Because in past simple you don't use verb to be. You just have to use the normal tense. Solo vas a decir Sandra se comió una hamburguesa. How can you say that?
Sandra ate a hamburger.
Sandra ate a hamburger. Very good. So, if you have this inactive, Sandra ate a hamburger, and you want to change it into passive, you can say a hamburger was eaten by Sandra. Yeah. So guys, as you realize, you know how to use maybe passive voice with present simple and with past simple. Because for example, if I say I eat I eat pizza every day. How can you say that in passive voice? I eat pizza every day. Who can tell me? The one that I said is
Every
inactive.
day I ate a pizza.
Tell me, Samu.
Every day I ate a pizza.
Not really. What is the most important thing in passive, baby? Every day or the pizza?
The pizza.
The pizza, because it's your
The
object. So,
pizza.
once again, Samu. I eat pizza every day. So, how can
Pero
you
me
say that in
confundí
passive?
porque es que acá empezaron a gritar, perdón. ¿Cómo
Don't
es?
worry. The example is this one. I eat pizza every day. If you want to change that active voice into a passive one, how can you do it?
I don't know.
Yes, you have it. So what is the most important thing when you change something into passive voice? The object or the
Start
subject?
with the start with the object.
The object. Okay, so what is the object in this sentence? I eat pizza every
Pizza,
day. What is the object?
pizza.
Pizza. So please begin with pizza.
Uh, Pizza was eaten by me every day. I don't know.
So. Now pay attention to this. I eat pizza every day. In which verbal time am I saying this sentence? Present, past, future. I eat pizza every day. In which verbal time am I saying it? Samu? Okay. Who can tell me in which verbal time am I saying this? I eat pizza every day.
Present.
In present. So if you have something in present, you have to use in passive voice the auxiliary verb that is verb to be in present. So who can tell me how is this going to be in passive voice? I eat pizza every day. ¿Cómo queda? Pizza. Who wants to continue? Maybe Martin Segura.
Yep.
So can you please continue? Can you please tell me how is this in passive voice? I eat pizza every day.
Oof.
So don't forget, you have to begin with your object, and we just said that the
The
object is pizza.
the pizza was
No.
eaten. No.
Look at this. Laura said that the active voice is in present, están presente. So if you
Okay.
have the active one in present, the verb to be, the auxiliary verb to be, is going to be in present, not in past. So pizza is, continue.
Pizza is eaten
Mm-hmm.
by me
By me,
every day.
every day. Pizza is eaten by me every day. So guys, as you can see, we just have to improve the use of passive voice with different verbal tenses, yeah? So for that reason, I am going to share with you my screen and we are going to reinforce this. I am going to give you like a quick review of the things that we learned the previous week, yeah? Because you need to know how to use it. Please take notes, babies. Please take notes, please pay attention, and please let me know if you have any question. I am going to ask you to participate a lot. So here we go again. So as I was telling you, passive voice in general is used to talk about the object, or is going to be focused in the object and the action and not really in the person or the thing that is performing the action. Yeah, so you have the example here. My bike was stolen. Yeah, so the important thing is the bike and the fact that it was stolen, but you don't really know who did it. Yeah? Do you have any question about the use of passive voice? Okay, so as you don't have questions about it, we are going to remember the form of the passive, guys. Please pay attention to this. You have to use the subject plus the definite form of the verb to be. That means that you are going to use the verb to be every single time in passive voice, but this verb to be is going to be used taking into account the active voice that you have. Yeah? This is going to be the one who is going to change. This is going to be the one who is going to tell you in which verbal tense you are working. And finally, you are going to use the main verb always in participle. So babies, if you don't know yet, the past form and the past participle form of the verbs, I need you to take a look of that. I need you to practice. Okay? So, Let's continue. Questions about this structure? Okay. As you don't have questions of this structure, as you have like the theory clear, we are going to check how can we use passive voice in each verbal time. Okay? So let's go with the first one. In each part, you are going to have the same example, the same case, and in that way, you are going to be able to see the changes. So the first use, passive voice with simple present or present simple is exactly the same. Juana, can you please help me reading these first two examples?
Marta grabs the bowl of soup. The bowl of soup is grabbed.
Is graft, like a final T, graft. Okay, let's check. This first sentence is in present simple, so Marta grabs the bowl of soup. But when you are changing this into passive voice, of course, the first thing is going to be the bowl of soup, and then you have to use verb to be, that is your auxiliary verb, in present simple. Why? Because the active voice is in present simple. And finally, you are going to use the main verb, that in this case is grab, in the past participle form, that is grabbed, with ed because this is a regular verb. So the bowl of soup is grabbed. By who? By Marta. If you want to complete it, you just have to add the person who did it. We are going to check another one. What happens if I say Marta eats potatoes? How can I change that example into passive voice, taking into account the explanation that I just gave you? Marta eats potatoes. Who wants to tell me? How can I change it?
The potatoes was eaten by Marta.
Why are you using was?
I don't know, teacher.
That's the past form of the verb to be. Of course, you have to use verb to
R,
be.
R
But
is
we are
R.
in present simple. So how do you have to use verb to be? In present simple. So let's try again, baby. Marta eats potatoes. How can you do it in passive voice? Potatoes.
R, I don't know, teacher.
Yes, are. Potatoes are.
R, eaten by Marta.
Very good. Potatoes are eaten by Marta. Nice job. Why? Because you have to use verb to be in present simple because the example is in present simple voice. Yeah? Let's check another one. What happens if I say Marta washed the dishes? How can you change that into passive voice?
Wash.
Wash. Marta washed the dishes. Who can tell me?
The dishes, the dishes are washed by Marta.
Very good. The dishes are washed by Marta. Questions about the use of passive voice with present simple, guys? Don't forget, the verb to be is going to be simple and the main verb past participle. Let's continue. Now let's check really fast the use of passive voice with past simple or simple past. It's exactly the same. So, Daniel, can you please help me reading these two examples, baby?
Okay, Marta, great. The bowl
Graft.
of soup. And the soup was great. Great.
Graved. Yeah. So, the first one, Marta graved the bowl of soup. If you realize, this one is in past simple because the main verb is in past simple. Yeah? You don't have anything else. You just have a subject, a verb, and a complement, and the main verb is in past simple. So that means that you are going to change it from that verbal time. When you change that, you say the bowl of soup was graved, and if you want to complete it, you just have to say by Marta or by the person who did it. What is the main change here? The only change that you are going to have is the form of the verb to be. Can you see? Because here it was in present. But when you have an active voice in past simple, you have to use passive voice with past simple. And that only means that your auxiliary verb, that is verb to be, is going to be the one who is going to change. The bowl of soup was graved by Marta. What is the other past form of verb to be? Was or who can tell me?
Where?
Were. Very good. You use was with the third person and were with the other ones. Let's check this form with our examples. If I say Marta ate potatoes, how can you put it into passive voice? Who can tell me? Marta ate potatoes. Go ahead.
The potatoes were eaten by that.
That's it. Potatoes were eaten by Marta. Were because it's plural. Very good. And what about the other one? Marta washed the dishes. How can you say it in passive
Uh,
voice?
the dishes are washed by Marta. I don't
Not
know.
are. Pay attention to this one. Marta washed, the pronunciation, the dishes. In past. How can you put it in passive voice if you have it in past? The dishes.
The dishes are,
Why
uh,
are? Why are you using are?
I don't know.
Yes, you know.
I just use it.
Don't guess. Don't try to guess. Not immediate. If you are talking in
Okay.
past, you have to use verb to be in past. If you have
Yes.
the active voice in present, you have to use the verb to be in present. In this case, I am
Okay.
giving you the example in past. Or what happened if I say, I don't know, I visited my grandparents yesterday. I don't know. How can you put that in passive voice?
I don't know, teacher.
Who can tell me? Try another one. You are 11. Don't forget to participate, guys. It's important. Just pick one. Marta washed the dishes or I visited my grandparents yesterday. Sophie, how can you change it?
Teacher, really, I don't know it. I'm confused.
Okay, so this is the example. Marta washed the dishes. En pasado. Marta washed the dishes. Sophie, what is the object in that sentence? Marta
The
washed the
dishes.
dishes. The dishes. So that's the first thing that you are going to use when you have passive voice. Yeah? So let's begin by the dishes. Second question, baby, is this sentence in present, in future, in past, in which verbal time? Marta washed the dishes yesterday.
Um, in past.
In past. Okay, so if you know that this is in past, you know that you are going to use your auxiliary verb, that is verb to be, in past. So how is the past form of verb to be, baby?
The past form of verb are was and were.
Was and were. So, and if your object is the dishes, what do you use? Was or were?
Was.
Are you sure?
Ah, no. No. What?
Are you sure that is was?
No, 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 no. Yeah, I'm confused. It's where because I'm talking about a lot and I use they, that
Very
dishes, so
good.
it's where.
Were. So, you know that. And then you have to use the main verb in participle. What is the main verb in this sentence? Marta washed the dishes yesterday. What is the main verb?
Wash.
What?
Washed. Very good. So, how can you say this sentence in passive voice? Marta washed the dishes yesterday. How can you do it? Sophie, attack.
So it was like the dishes were washed by Marta yesterday.
That's it. Very good. Very good. So, babies, when you have something, an active voice in past simple, and you want to change it into passive voice, the only thing that you have to do is to use your auxiliary verb, that is verb to be, in past. And that's it. Easy peasy. Questions about the use of passive voice with past simple, guys? Okay, let's continue then. Now, babies, let's talk about the use of passive voice with present continuous, okay? I need you to pay attention here because you're going to have like an extra rule that is going to help you a lot. So we are going to check these two examples. Ivan, can you please help me reading these two examples?
Martha is grabbing the bowl of soup, and the bowl of soup is being grabbed.
Grabbed. Okay. Martha is grabbing the bowl of soup, and the bowl of soup is being grabbed. Okay, babies.
Teacher, I have a question. What is the meaning of grab it?
Who knows? Do you know what is the meaning of grabbing? I was waiting for that question because you are checking examples without knowing the meaning.
Maybe coger? I don't know.
Agarrar.
Grab it? Yeah.
Tell me?
Agarrar, ¿no? Pues Martín lo dijo.
Yes,
Es
it's like
agarrar o
to take
coger.
something, agarrar algo con la mano. Or, yeah, something like that. Coger algo. That's the meaning of grab. Like taking something. So, babies, Marta is grabbing the bowl of soup. The bowl of soup is being grabbed. Pay attention to these, babies. Here you have present continuous, that means verb to be, and the verb with ing. Yeah? You know that. You know how to use present continuous. It's an action that is in progress. That's it. But when you are going to change a sentence, the inactive voice, into a passive one, and that sentence is using present continuous, you are going to have twice the verb to be. Why? Because if you say it like, let's talk about a bit in Spanish. If you say it like in Spanish, you are going to say está siendo. Esto está siendo cogido. Esto está siendo visto. Esto está siendo así. Está siendo. And in English, we don't have two words to say estar and to say siendo. Ser y estar is just one verb, verb to be. That's the reason why you are going to use verb to be twice. Okay? So, Martha is grabbing the bowl of soup, and in passive is the bowl of soup is being grabbed by Martha. Yeah, you just have to complete it if you want. How are you going to use it? The first use of verb to be is going to be the verb to be in their normal way, conjugated with the object that you have. So, for example, in this case, it's a bowl of soup. It's a thing. It's a singular thing. So you are going to use is. And the second use, baby, is going to be the verb to be as the auxiliary of passive voice. And as you are using continuous, that means that your verb to be is going to be with ing. Always. When you change something in continuous into a passive voice and you know that it's continuous, you know that you are going to have a verb to be like this, being. Siempre van a tener esta palabra, being, if you are using continuous. Yeah? So, we are going to check
Always in all the sentence?
Always. If it's continuous, it's going to be always. Si lo estás haciendo en continuo,
Okay.
sea presente o pasado, continuo, siempre vas a tener el verbo to be como being, y antes de este being vas a tener el verbo to be normal, sea is, sea am o sea are, solo que lo conjugas con el objeto que tengas. Entonces, en este caso, como es un
Teacher?
bol de sopa, pues es is porque es una sola cosita. Y después being. ¿Ok? Questions?
And I don't need to use the subject?
Just if you want, because you are changing this into passive voice. Yeah?
Okay.
So you are going to have the verb to be twice. One is going to be like super friend with the object, and the other one is going to be the verb to be as auxiliary. So as it's continuous, it is going to be being all the time. And then of course the main verb in participle. Questions up to this point?
Okay. Yeah, if I use the subject,
Who is
Kimba.
going to tell?
I have a question. And Sophia too.
Okay.
And me too.
Okay. So
And Sophia.
let's take turns, guys. So Laura, Sofia, and then you, baby. Okay. Laura, tell me.
Okay.
I have a question. The verb to be this time always will be in present or it changes depends the the what the time the grammatical time.
It is going to change taking into account the grammar. So, for example, if you have simple present, it's just is. If you have simple past, it is going to be was. But in this case, it's present continuous, the one that we are talking about. Present continuous has this rule. You are going to use it twice. One is going to be always like this in the normal way, is, am, or are, taking into account the subject. And the other one is going to be as an auxiliary. So that means verb to be with ing. So just in continuous, present or past, it doesn't matter, you are going to have being plus the normal form of verb to be.
So in past continuous, the verb is going to be like in is or it's going to be with was or were.
Taking into account, if it's not continuous, you have to take into account the sentence. So for example, look at this. This is in past simple. Marta
No, yes,
arrived. So the
I,
verb to be is going to be in past. Why? Because this active is in past. So in that case, it's
yes,
going to change.
uh, yes. So I understand this part, but my question is, for example, in past continuous, we use was or were.
In past continuous, yes,
Okay, thank
because
you.
it's past. But this is present, so as it's present, is. That is going to change taking into account that. Okay, Sophie, tell me.
So I have a little bit question. I don't know if you like it's a stupid question, but I don't know. In present continuous, you said that it's obligatory or mandatory whether you are talking about present simple in in a sentence or in a phrase or in whatever that have that point for saying like that. You need to use with to the verb with ing and the verb to be like it's in everything that says that part.
Yes.
When we use present continuous, is that the rule, and I don't understand it. But if the word or if the sentence that put in that example says that is in past, like in a way to say that the action that the subject doing in the past, it's the same thing when I need to write it with ing, because when I'm talking about with ing and in present continuous, it's like an action that I'm doing at the moment that I understand it, but I don't understand if the action or if the sentence are in past, if applicate the same rule or is
It's the same
different.
rule because when you have past continuous, you are going to have an action that was in past, happened in past, but that action had a duration in past. So let's, for example, if you are saying this, Marta is driving, you will say Marta was driving. So you are going to have verb to be plus ing. It's the same rule. The only thing is that the verb to be is going to be in past. But it's the same rule. Every single time that you
Okay, so
have
in that
continuous,
part is the verb to be.
yeah, you can change it.
What, sorry?
Every single time that you have continuous, you are going to have verb to be plus verb with ing. It's a rule. You can change it. If it's continuous, it's verb to be plus ing. Yeah? So if you check, for example, here, we are making the rule work. When you put it in passive voice, you have verb to be plus verb with ing. The thing is that the verb with ing is also verb to be. Yeah, because this is the auxiliary in passive voice, but it's verb to be plus verb with ing. You can change it, no matter if it's in present, in past, in whatever, because it's continuous. Okay?
Okay. No, that's my question because yes, I'm really confused with that part because, like I tell you, present continuous is for an action that I'm doing at the moment, and if I tell you about an action that I do in the past, I don't have sense if I'm talking about with present continuous. So I forget that I can change it that is with a was in the
No, it's
past.
okay.
That verb I can change it in the past. So I don't. I that was my question. Thank you, teacher.
No, thanks to you, baby. And the last question. Tell me the last question, baby.
If I want to use the subject in the sentence, in what part of the sentence I put it?
At the end. So, for example, if you want to use Marta, that is the subject here, you just have to write by. Do you remember that? I told you. So, the bowl
Oh
of
yeah,
soup is being grabbed by Marta.
by Marta. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
So
my
you have to
question.
put it at the end because the subject is going to be more like a complement. It is not that important, so it goes at the end.
Okay.
Okay, baby. Now that you have this clear, let's change our two other examples into passive voice. What happens if I say Marta is eating potatoes? Who wants to change it into passive voice? Who wants to try? Marta is eating potatoes. Who can help me with that one?
The potatoes was eaten by Marta, but I don't know how to change to present perfect simple.
Stop. One by one, one by one. We are in present continuous. So you almost got it, but you made a mistake because you used was, and in this case it's where because it's potatoes. It's plural.
Okay.
So say it again,
Okay, sorry.
please. Potatoes.
The potatoes were eaten by, I don't know, by Marta.
And you didn't realize that I gave you another thing because we are not talking in past, we are talking in present.
Uh, I'm confused right now.
Yes, because you mix past with present. And you
Okay,
didn't
yeah,
realize
sorry.
when I told you. So, once again, you are not going to use was or were at all because this is not past, it's present. So you are going to use is or are. Again,
Okay. The
potatoes.
potatoes are eaten by Marta. No sé
Now,
si es Marta.
what is missing? What did I told you? You have to use
I don't
double
know.
verb to be.
Be-
Are being, very good. Tienen que usar doble verbo to be. So potatoes are being. Being is going to be always there in continuous. Siempre van a tener el being.
Are being?
So are being eaten. Very good. Potatoes are being
Okay.
eaten by Marta.
Okay, okay.
And the
Sorry.
next one. Marta is washing the dishes. Who wants to change it into passive voice? Marta is washing the dishes. Go ahead, guys. Who can do it?
I'm gonna try. The dishes are being washed by Marta. I
Very
don't know.
good. That's it.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yay,
Okay.
you understood. Nice job. So don't forget it, babies. If you have present continuous, you have to use verb to be in present plus being plus the participle. Questions about the use of passive voice in continuous, guys?
No.
Okay, let's continue with the next one. I need you to pay a lot of attention. Now we are going to talk about the use of passive voice in present perfect. Okay? Don't forget that when we have present perfect, we are talking about an action that is in the past, but it is going to have consequences in our present or in our future. Okay? That's present perfect. And the rule in present perfect tells us that we have to use has or have plus the verb in participle. So let's check these examples. Juan Esteban, can you please help me reading these two examples? Juanes, are you there, baby? Okay, he's not here. Then this is Sarai. Can you please help me reading these two examples, baby?
Martha has gra- I don't know
Yeah,
how to say it.
grabbed.
Grabbed the bowl of
Soup.
soup.
And the next one,
The bowl was being grabbed.
grabbed. Okay, so pay attention to this one. Marta has grabbed a bowl of soup. If you have a sentence in active voice and you realize that you have has or have, and then you have a verb in participle, you are going to know that in passive voice you are going to use the same. How can we do it? In passive voice, it doesn't matter if it's active or passive, you have to use present perfect. So that means that in passive voice, you are going to still using has or have, taking into account the subject or the object that you have, and then you are going to use your auxiliary verb, that is the verb to be, in participle. So that's the reason why it's been. And finally, the rule of passive voice tells us that the main verb is going to be in participle. That doesn't change. So we are going to check this example. Marta has grabbed the bowl of soup, and if you change it, the bowl of soup has been grabbed by Marta. So every single time, guys, with perfect tenses, present or past, it doesn't matter, perfect tenses, you have to use the auxiliary verb of that verbal time and then the verb to be in participle. That means that it's always going to be been, siempre va a ser been, cuando tienen tiempos perfectos, ¿ya? And then the participle of the main verb. So we are going to check the examples that we are using, the extra examples. So what happens if I say, Marta has eaten potatoes? How can you change that in passive voice? Who can tell me? Marta
The
has...
potatoes has
Uh-huh.
eaten. Well,
Can you please repeat, baby? Potatoes?
they been eaten by Marta.
That's it. So potatoes, and what do you use? Has or have?
I don't know. I think it's has.
But it's potatoes. It's plural.
Has?
It's have.
Have?
Have, yes.
Okay,
Because you have
so.
plural. Don't forget that has is for third person. He, she, it. And the other ones have. So
Okay.
potatoes have been eaten. Continue.
By Marta.
By Marta. That's it. Very good. I want to listen, Daniel. Daniel, please change this one into passive voice. Marta has washed the dishes. How can you do it, Dani? Daniel, are you there, baby? Please say something. No, he's not answering. What about Laura? How can you change that one, Lau? Marta has washed the dishes.
The dishes have been washed by Marta.
Very, very good. That's it. So you are going to use always has or have and the verb to be like been. Questions about passive voice in with present perfect, guys?
No, teacher.
No? Okay, great. Let's continue. So, babies, these ones are really easy because you have the base. So, passive voice with past continuous. So here, babies, is really, really similar to the use with present continuous. If you are going to realize, it's exactly the same. The only thing is that you are going to change the verb to be. You are not going to use it in present, but in past, like the example. So, Juana, can you please help me reading the examples? Juana,
Sorry.
go ahead, baby.
Dime, es que me perdí.
Okay, I'm lost. Don't forget to speak in English. Can you please help me reading these two examples, the ones of passive voice with past continuous?
Okay. Marta was grabbing the bowl of soup,
Mm-hmm.
and the bowl of soup was being grabbed.
Grabbed. Okay. So, babies, if you realize it's exactly the same as this is a continuous form, you are going to use verb to be twice. One is going to be showing you the moment, so present or past, and the other one is going to be being all the time. Yeah? So in this case it's past, so you are going to use verb to be in past. In this case, the bowl of soup, singular, was being grabbed. Let's check the examples that we are using too. So, how can I change? I want to listen. I haven't talked. Okay, I want to listen Sarai. Sarai, how can I change Marta was eating potatoes into passive voice? How can I do it? Sarai?
Please. Marta, teacher, you can repeat
Yes, I am going to repeat.
the sentence.
Marta was eating potatoes. How can I change that sentence into passive voice?
Um, the
So, what is the most important thing here in passive voice?
uh, the soup, the I'm sorry, the potatoes, the
Potatoes, yes, your object. So, you are going to begin with potatoes. And don't forget that with a continuous form, in this case past continuous, you have to use twice verb to be. One indicating the time and the other one is always going to be being. So how can you do it? Potatoes.
potatoes was no were eaten by Marta.
There is something missing. Don't forget that as this is a continuous form, you have to use being all the time. That is the second time that you are going to use verb to be. So check out the example. The bowl of soup was being breathed. Now, potatoes were, and then this one.
Being
Mm-hmm. Being what?
um, in what?
What is the main verb? Marta
Eaten.
eaten. Very good.
Eaten.
So, potatoes were being eaten by who? By Marta.
Eaten.
Okay. And the next one, the other example that we use. Marta was washing the dishes. How can you change it into passive voice? Who can tell me?
The dishes is were or was?
Where, because it's plural.
Yeah, okay. Were, were being. ¿Cuál es el ejemplo? Perdón, lo olvidé.
Wash. That's the verb.
Wash, okay. Yeah, the dishes were being washed by Marta.
That's it. Very good. Questions about the use of passive voice with past
No,
continuous,
teacher.
guys? Great. You are understanding now. Great job. Now let's check passive voice with past perfect. It's really similar to present perfect. The difference is that when you have past perfect, guys, don't forget that past perfect is like when you have one action, you have two actions in the past. But the oldest action, the one that happened first, it is going to be in past perfect. It's like the past of the past. So in that case, when you have past perfect, the only thing that is going to change is that you are not going to use have or has, but you are going to use the past form, that is had. Had and then the past participle form. But the rules are going to be exactly the same. As this is a perfect time, you are going to use your auxiliary verb to be as being, and you have to use had. That's so similar to present perfect. So we are going to check the examples. Samu, can you please help me reading these two examples?
Yeah, Marta had grabbed the bowl of soup. The bowl of soup has been grabbed.
By who? By Marta. Easy peasy.
Yes.
So babies, if you realize I have the same rule, I have to use the perfect time. So that's the reason why I am going to use had. And then I have to use my auxiliary verb, the passive voice auxiliary verb, that is verb to be. But as this is perfect, I am going to use it in participle. That's the reason why it's been, and then the main verb in participle because that's the rule. So we are going to change our other example. So Martin Grajales, how can you change this one? Marta had eaten potatoes. Into passive voice. Go ahead, Martin.
I want teacher.
You want? Okay, attack.
Potatoes had been eaten by Marta.
Very good. Potatoes had been eaten by Marta. Very good. And Martin, you are going to do the second one. Marta had washed the dishes. How can you do it in passive voice?
Repeat, please. It's got a little bit.
I can't listen to you in a good way. Can you please repeat?
I think he have
You can repeat
Oh,
the
yeah.
word, please.
Yeah. Marta had washed the dishes. Marta had washed dishes. How can you put it in passive voice?
The dishes were washed by Marta, I think.
Okay, the dishes were washed by Marta. That's it. Are you sure? Are you sure of your
Almost.
answer? This is in past perfect. Are you sure of your answer? If I say Marta had washed the dishes, why are you using word washed? You have to use it in past perfect. So again, Martin, go ahead.
The dishes were. I don't remember how you say watch in past perfect.
No, it's the same, swatch, but pay attention to this. It's the rule because you are saying were washed. But the problem is that I am not talking in past simple. I am talking in past perfect. So if I
had
say
been washed.
Marta had washed the dishes, you have to change it by using had, by using been, and by using the past participle of the main verb. So once again, Martin, the dishes.
The dishes had been washed by Marta.
That's it. Very good. And let's finish, guys, with two uses. The use of passive voice with future tense, will and be going to. This is really easy because the only thing that you have to do is to write will or be going to, and then you have to write the verb to be in the infinitive way. So let's check this example. Marta will grab the bowl of soup, and when you change it, you can say the bowl of soup will be grabbed by Marta. Yeah? So will is going to be exactly the same as well as going to. And the only thing that you have to do is to add be, the verb to be in infinitive. Let's check the other example. Marta is going to grab the bowl of soup, and when you change it, the bowl of soup is going to be grabbed. Can you see? So you just have to write will or be going to, and then you just have to add be, and that's it. So we are going to check the examples that we have. What happens if I say Marta will eat potatoes? Who wants to change it into passive voice?
Sorry,
Can you
teacher, I
repeat?
don't understand very good. You can repeat it, please?
Yes, of course. When you have will or be going to, the only thing that you have to do when you put it in passive voice is to add the auxiliary, that is verb to be, in infinitive. So let's check the example. Marta will grab the bowl of soup. If you want to change this into passive voice, you are going to say the bowl of soup, you are going to write the future tense, that in this case is will, and then you just have to use verb to be in infinitive, be. The same thing happened here, going to be, and that's it. So now, please help me changing this one. Marta will eat potatoes. How can you put that in passive voice?
Potatoes will be eaten by Martha.
That's it, very good. And who wants to do the second one? Marta is going to wash the dishes.
The dishes will be washed by Marta.
Going to. Marta is going to
Going-
wash the dishes again.
Okay. The dishes. What? The dishes going to be washed by Marta?
Almost. You forgot the verb to be here. Acuérdate que es be going to. Entonces es are going to be. ¿Listo? Entonces the
What?
dishes.
I'm
When,
so. O sea, I changed the is for there because it's.
Porque en futuro
Okay.
tú no es solo going to, es be going to. Va a hacer algo. That's
Okay.
like the future. So the
Okay,
dishes.
Be going to.
Estamos usando be going to. Entonces vas a decir the dishes are going to y agregas la regla. Be are going to be washed by Marta.
Washed by Marta. Okay,
Okay.
this is difficult to me, but okay.
And just 30 seconds more to finish this explanation, guys, and I let you go. And finally, when you want to use passive voice with modals, it's really similar to the future because you just have to use the modal verb and you have to add be in infinitive. So let's check the example. If I say Marta can grab the bowl of soup and I want to change it, into passive voice, I can say the bowl of soup can be grabbed by Marta. It doesn't matter the modal verb. It can be should, may, have to, whatever. Yeah. So, who can help me by changing this one? And in that way, we finish. Marta should eat potatoes. How can I change that in passive voice? Marta should eat potatoes. Who can help me?
Potatoes should be eaten by Marta.
That's it. Very good. Because you just have to put the modal verb and then verb to be, that is your auxiliary, and then the rest. Participle and the complement. Potatoes should be eaten by Marta. Questions about the use of passive voice with modals, babies?
No.
And that's it, babies. That's all. We didn't have time to talk about together to have something done, so we are going to do it in our future class, in our next class. And that's all for today, babies. I see you at 2 p.m. Please be punctual. Bye bye.
Okay, bye, teacher.
Bye.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, everyone.